we are on day 2 of our testing. We are shooting day 6 Evos, Solid Legend, and the Valkyries. We have our elk target set up. All right, so this is our target for our broadhead test. We have our ballistics gel with our beef bone. You can see that in there. It's basically just a leg bone. So we lay that up against our target. This is going to simulate our quarter. This is going to simulate going through the insides and into the other shoulder. Well, this is the other shoulder. We don't suspect they'll go that far. Here's our elk hide. Everybody knows what that looks like. You can see it's super thick, wiry hair. So it's going to dull up blades real fast, which is what we're hoping for. You guys have to understand that this video is just showing you what these broadheads and bow setups are going to do, shooting them through elk hair, through ballistic shell, which simulates meat, into a bone, or glancing of a bone into the insides. We're not trying to say one broadhead's better than the other, because honestly, you cannot hit the exact same spot with every single broadhead, with every single bow setup. So we're just putting this out there so you can see what happens. All right. Today we're changing things up a little bit. We're going to shoot all 3 of these broadheads with the 80-pound Hoyt, then switch it up to the 65-pound Bowtech, and then to the 50-pound Bowtech. As you see in the other videos, we switched. We shot element fire and ice arrows, which have a FOC with a collar on the front. So that's not what we wanted. So we switched arrows, and now we're shooting the gold tips with no FOC except for the tip. The other thing you have to remember is the Valkyries, smallest vented ones you can get, is 150 grain broadhead. So the Valkyries are heavier. So remember that. All right, we're gonna shoot Valkyrie first. Day 6 Evo. These are the days, they look identical. Day 6 Evo. That's what these ones are. You see that Valkyrie bury all the way?
Yeah.
Did you hear it hit?
Mm-hmm.
You could literally hear the bone breaking when that Valkyrie hit. That one missed the bone. Missed the bone because it shot high. Solid Legend with the 3/4 inch bleed.
Sounded like a solid hit.
Yeah, that was cool.
Are we going up to look?
Nope. We're gonna shoot the Bowtech 65-pound with the lighter arrows. We'll get an actual weight on them. I didn't pull a weight. We will figure that out. So, and we'll post all of the weights with the FOCs with the test.
Ooh.
All right, that was the Solid Legend. Now we're gonna shoot the Valkyrie.
Ooh. Sorry.
Yeah, these light arrows are not doing so hot. And I'm not saying that light arrows aren't the way to go. I'm just saying this is the first time we've been sending these gold tips. We might have to buy more of them because it ain't looking good for them down there.
It wasn't horrible.
Yeah, it glanced. I'm thinking it just
It probably caught the side of the bone.
Yep. All right, now on to the big old 50-pounder, 26.5 draw length. This is my wife's bow. Represents like a woman or a youth bow with the 150 grain Valkyrie.
Ooh.
That one hit solid. This we're shooting again, so if you guys missed it, she is shooting the Sirius Apollos with the stainless aluminum Ethics Archery insert outsert. So our total arrow weight is 463 grains with a 21%, 22% FOC. Sounded nice and solid. This is the Solid Legend. That one glanced off bone too. All right, let's go check it out. Now that's one thing you guys got to remember, that with these big two blades, when you're aiming, like, you got to understand, there's no way that we're going to hit every single broadhead exactly into the bone where we want it. The bone is running kind of at an angle in there, and then I have some other pieces of bone in there. We'll show you on the back how the bone is laid in there, but a lot of times these big two blades, if they do hit a bone, they'll just turn to the side and keep going. Where like a three blade, which once we get into our big three blades and stuff like that, we'll start to see that, but where a three blade would actually try to deflect instead of just turn and keep going. So, all right, let's go check them out. So, what we got going on here? We shaved some fletchings. I see that. We got a little bit of fletching down here. Let's pull. These are solid. Try to see. I'm gonna have to just pull it out because I can't get it. I'm not gonna be able to see them. Made some good cuts in the hide. All right, what do we got going on here? Looks like, no, I don't see any broken arrows yet. We got bone and tendon coming out the back. These should have been more, looks like our bone mass is like right here, so I'm guessing these ones were catching to the side. Glancing. Looks like, oh goodness. Got some broken broadheads for sure in here. All right, guys, we are gonna pull this apart here because for this test, we just shot them all into it and then did it all at once. Last night it took so long doing each broadhead and then going and pulling it. So we're just gonna pull this ballistics gel. We just cut enough that just split the ballistics gel right down the middle. Oh, there's a piece of broadhead. So there's a lot of, you have to understand, there's a lot of voids. I mean, there's a lot of spots where there's no, like this one clearly did not hit bone. Got a nice slice there through the, we'll probably be able to reshoot this one. Make sure we hit bone with it. But we got a piece of broadhead I just had fallen out. Save that. Looks like our Valkyrie, this one definitely did not hit. This one we can pull out. There's more parts of broadhead. Which one was this? This is a, I'm still unsure. Boy, there's pieces of metal everywhere in here. It hit this knuckle right here. Split that bone. That's bone right there. Actually, it completely split that bone. We got, kind of cool, we got the Valkyrie from my wife's hip bone. Turned to an angle. That broadhead is literally in perfect condition. And it hit solid bone there. Did not break the arrow. So this one here cut bone. This is our solid legend, cut through tendon, sliced into the bone. Looks like it just caught the edge of the bone right through here and sliced through there. Broadhead itself is completely unscathed. It's very sharp yet. That bleeder is dull. The tip seems to have a little dull to it. You can see that this solid legend exploded out of the gold tip and the 65-pound Bowtech. That one must have hit solid bone. That must be all these metal chunks I'm pulling out here. We'll keep pulling these out. A couple of these we're going to shoot into the bone again. This is kind of cool. I'll show you guys quick. So the Day 6 Evo, this bag, if you can see this bag is filled with like cloth. So it's just a nightmare. It'll stop anything, and it's a nightmare to get anything out of. But check out that Day 6 Evo. It obviously missed all bone, but it went completely through this bag with the 80-pound Hoyt 650 grain arrows. That's cool. Let's keep pulling these out here. This is a Valkyrie that is solid. This Valkyrie hit solid bone and is in perfect condition. There's not a chip. The tip is absolutely pin sharp. That Valkyrie is very usable again. And this is the one out of my wife's bow, and it hit solid right into this bone. So did this one, this Valkyrie. This one missed. We'll shoot this one again. I understand that it's been shot now, so that changes things, but that's how it goes. And we're not going to let that broadhead go without hitting bone. Those two we'll pull out with the pliers. Possibly have to cut them out. Let's see if we can't get this 80-pound Hoyt to hit right here. We'll shoot it not in the ballistics gel, just shoot the bone. Well, there you go. They're sharp. Day 6 Evo, 125 grain. They give you a cool sticker. So, love the profile. I'm a big fan of the 2-blade with bladers. Got the solids. Here's the issue. Like, they're not really that sharp.
Kind of like karma, huh?
What's that?
Since you said they weren't very sharp.
Oh, yeah. No kidding, right?
Why is that? I don't know why the light.
All right, what's up, guys? We are going to review our second day of testing. I apologize. It took longer. When pulling arrows out of the target, I actually ended up slicing my finger pretty good. That kind of killed the rest of the night. Probably should have got stitches, but I didn't. We didn't go to the hospital. It wasn't that big of a deal. It's doing a lot better the next few days here. It's actually very ironic. I'll flip to the clip. Here's the issue. Like, they're not really that sharp. Like, I actually say that when I pulled the Day 6 Evos out of the package, they just felt not dull, but not shaving sharp. They were sharp, but not shaving sharp. So after just having an iron will and a grizzly stick and the Valkyries and stuff like that in my hand, I was thinking like, oh, these are like dull. and it was straight up karma. It happened to be a day 6 Evo that I was pulling out of the target, and when I pulled it out of the target, for some stupid reason, I had my hand here, pulled it right through the target, came through and sliced my finger really good. And they are very sharp. So that was my fault, but anyway, we'll get right to it. We're going to review some of the arrows. You have to bear with me because this all happened yesterday. So I have to I went through the videos and everything, made sure that I have everything straight. A few of I think 3 of the broadheads missed bone, and one of the 2 of them missed bone completely. We're going to shoot them again, and I know it's not the same. We're going to shoot them again into a bone just because we got to see what happens. But one of them glanced. It hit bone, but because it was a big 2-blade, you guys got to remember them. These big 2 blades, if they don't hit dead center bone, they glance and they'll keep going. So we're going to shoot the one that glanced anyway. All of these broadheads that we shot yesterday are still razor sharp. Even the broadhead that exploded when it hit the knuckle, the parts are still razor sharp. My opinion, the one that impressed me the most yesterday was the Valkyries. You got to understand that these Valkyries are 150 grain broadheads. That's the smallest that they make. They started the front over center thing, and they were building huge broadheads that they could put a lot of weight out front. And then Ethics was already going, but they weren't known as much. Then Ethics blew up, and now everybody's throwing inserts on so you can shoot whatever broadhead you want. But the Valkyries, everybody told me they're made out of A2 tool steel. They're too brittle. First time you hit that bone, they're going to shatter. But they didn't. They're actually, like these broadheads, the same as the Iron Wills. These broadheads are insanely sharp. We're after we shot it through elk hide, through the ballistic shell, hitting bone, and through one target, and even a couple of them made it into the 3rd target, which is a cloth inside. And these things are just insanely sharp yet. But the day 6 Evos performed amazing. We'll go over them. They are definitely a solid head. There's no broken ferrules, no broken bleeders. I kept mixing up day 6 Evos and solid legend because let's throw a couple of these up here, because as you can see, day 6 Evo, solid legend. So when I was saying solid legend, I kept thinking these ones, but this is the day 6 Evos. They're just a big old giant chunk of steel. Solid. Here are the solid legends. The solid legends in the 125 with the 3/4 inch bleeder blades on them. These things are just gigantic. These are a very big head. But they did good, honestly. We hit bone with the 2 of them, and only one of them exploded. I don't know why it exploded. It must have just been the way that it hit that bone, but and it completely exploded. So let's go through these now, okay? Let me pull up the bone here. You'll have to excuse me. It's been sitting in the rain and stuff for a day, or outside in the heat, so it's pretty stinky. Because these are fresh bone that came from the butcher on the day of the kill. So these are fresh bone. But anyway, so let's go over the 80-pound Hoyt, and it hit the Valkyrie hit solid right into the bone here. I don't know if you can see it. It took a gigantic chunk of that bone right out and kept going. So if you hit, now the Valkyries, that's one thing that I really like about the Valkyries, is they have such a steep broadhead angle that they, if you do come on the edge of bone, you're not going to get that hard deflection like some of these other ones with the flatter angle. But you do have less cutting sideways, like from across the board, but you have 3 blades. This was the only true 3-blade or multi-blade broadhead that we shot with these testings. I just wanted it to be with the premiums, because it is, I think, $75, $80 for 3 of them. But it took a huge chunk right through here and glanced off and kept going. Took a big chunk of that bone out, and it did really well. We're actually going to shoot this, when we shoot these other heads into the bone again, no hide, no ballistic shell, just bone, and just crushing it right in there so I can actually see what I'm aiming at. I want to shoot this one again out of the 80 pounder because I want to hit that dead center and see what happens. All right, the second one I shot was the Day 6 Evos. This one I had shot and missed. I hit, if you remember the video, I hit like way up, or not way up, but like right up here. So this is one that we will be shooting again out of the 80 pound Hoyt. But it shot through elk hide, through the ballistic shell, missed the bone, but it did hit, missed the bone, but it went through our second target, our first target, through the second target, and it was stuck probably at least, you know, 3/4 of the way of the arrow stuck out the back of the third target. And the third target is a cloth target. I actually haven't seen too many broadheads go through that. So that's pretty impressive for it to go all the way through and be stuck out the other side. So that was a good one. We're going to shoot it again. It is still, I'm telling you right now, it's still just as sharp as when it came out of the package. Bleeders, everything is great. They are still just as sharp. There's absolutely there's no marks on the edges. There's no marks on the blades. As you can see, bleeders are in perfect condition. This one sailed right through, not hitting any bone, but it did still cut elk hide, elk skin, ballistic shell, 2 targets. Third arrow shot for the Hoyt was the Solid Legend 125 with the 3/4 bleeder. That one hit, you can see this, that one hit just like that. And it hit the same hole that the Valkyrie hit, and it took a chunk out of that bone. It sliced a chunk out of the bone and glanced up, only because there was already a hole there from the Valkyrie. But it did really good. It is not broken. Blades still incredibly sharp all the way up. Both bleeder blades, and one of the bleeders cut into the bone there, and everything is super sharp and it's still in great condition. So as you can see, there is some rust on it, but these sat out overnight. After I cut my finger, they sat in the yard, so they did sit in water all night. All right, then we shot my father's bow. This is where it got interesting. With the gold tip Hunter Pro 400s. I believe the first shot was with the Solid Legend 125 grain, and it hit right, you can see the marks in the bone. It hit right in this knuckle, on the corner of the knuckle there, where the 2 pieces come together. And it absolutely exploded that broadhead. Just blew it apart. There was pieces of broadhead everywhere, in the bone, in the ballistic shell on the back, and in the foam target, the first target. So that one grenaded. I don't know why one broadhead hit, glanced with the high FOC and a bigger bow, glance hit and it didn't do anything. The broadhead is in perfect condition. And the next bow with a lower poundage, lighter arrows, hits kind of a glance right in the corner of that knuckle, but it was solid and it just exploded it. So moving on, I shot a Valkyrie out of it. out of the 65-pound Bowtech. That Valkyrie hit dead center right there. And these are pretty long. I mean, it's a pretty long broadhead. 3-blade. I mean, that's pretty respectable for a 3-blade broadhead to drive in there. 150 grain. Remember, those are 150 grain. All right, just a quick video here on the Valkyrie shot out of the 65-pound bow. It is absolutely perfect. This is the one that drove all the way into the bone. We just pulled it out of the bone, and it is razor sharp still. So that's impressive. These things are tough as nails. I don't suspect that you can actually break this broadhead shooting it into a bone. So we're going to shoot it with the 80-pound bow now, though. Find out. None of these bows, here's another thing you need to understand. None of these bows are tuned for a 150 grain broadhead. So that's the other thing. When you change tip weight like that, when you go, I mean, change them from 100 to 125, it's always a good idea to tune your bow after, but you're not going to see as big of effect if you go from 100. This arrow and bow setup was tuned with a 100 grain tip, and then we shot 150 grain Valkyrie out of it. That's going to change because there's going to be a lot of flex in this arrow, especially being a 400 grain arrow, or 400 spine arrow. There's going to be a lot of flex in this thing with that huge of a tip. So the bow needs to be retuned to those. So some of you can say that it's not fair, but it's the smallest ones that I could get from Valkyrie. And we're not going to turn around and tune all the bows to a 150 grain tip just to shoot them for one broadhead and then tune them back to the, the 100 grains or 125 grains. So it's pretty solid. We'll pull it out and we'll check it out to see what it looks like. My guess is it looks perfect. Just hit solid bone. So the third arrow shot out of that setup was the Day 6 Evo. And this one was a miss. We caught the edge. I believe it was just tendon. All right. Our third bow setup with my wife's 50-pound Bowtech Realm X. And she shot the Valkyrie, 150 grain Valkyrie. These blades are super sharp. Not as sharp as the one that missed that glanced off the bone, but they're still really sharp. But this Valkyrie blew a hole in this bone, and actually, I'll show you here. This Valkyrie blew that hole through that knuckle and came out the backside. That's with a 50-pound woman's setup, 26.5-inch draw length, 50 pounds. So 100. This total arrow weight would be another 50 pounds. So it'd be 510, a little over 510 grains total weight arrow right here out of my wife's bow, and it blew right through that knuckle. It literally blew a hole through it and shattered the bone. You can see the bone in there all shattered up, and it stuck out the other side of the bone. So that was pretty impressive. Day 6 Evo out of my wife's bow, sticking it solid right in this bone, and that's respectable. I mean, it drove it all the way down, insert deep into the bone, and we can get it out. So there we go. Left a pretty big hole there in the bone. Whew, it stinks. And we have damage to the tip. We have, I'm sure, I really want to touch these. They're pretty nasty. Yeah. Side blades are still razor sharp. Very sharp. But the tip is damaged, and one of the bleeder blades is bent a little bit, just a little bit. But the bleeder blades look in pretty good condition still. So I'd say that one did pretty well for smacking dead center into that bone like that. It did smash up the tip a little bit, but so did the iron wheel. The iron wheel did the same thing. So that one did well. It didn't bend. I mean, it's still perfectly straight. It didn't bend. It didn't break. And the third one was the Solid Legend out of my wife's bow. And this one just glanced. It caught right on, I'll pull it up here. It caught right on the side of the bone there. I mean, it's perfectly sharp all the way around. The tip is still perfect. This is another one that we're going to shoot again because I think it just caught a little bit of a edge of a blade, because these things have just a massive cutting surface there. So we're going to go back through and shoot these ones that missed, and we're just going to shoot them, drive them right into the bone again and see what happens. First up on our testing is the Valkyrie out of the Hoyt. I just want to shoot it again because I want to see what this thing can do. Whoa. Something just went like probably 15 yards that way, like a total of 20 yards. Let's go see what just happened. All right, blew the knockout, hit bone. It looks like it broke. I can't say that. I should look. That's way in there. That one's gonna be tough to get out. I don't know what it was that flew way over those weeds, but something come off here. So we're gonna pull this out and see what this broadhead looks like. All right. We have 80.1 Hoyt and the Day 6 Evo. That was awesome. There was stuff flying everywhere. All right, let's it hit the bone, as you can see, shattered the bone and deflected and stuck into the target. I'm curious what this broadhead looks like. Ooh. Day 6 Evo. Completely shattered the tip. And that was a glance. It hit bone, but the bone is at an angle. So when it hit, it was trying to deflect. And they're stiff arrows with a high FOC, a lot of insert weight. So there was just too much energy carrying forward that it couldn't flex that arrow enough. And it just snapped that broadhead right in half. That is crazy. I've seen a lot of stuff go flying, which I think most of it was bone. But yeah. And that left a heck of a chunk. We took where'd we hit? Right there. Took a huge chunk of bone out of there. That's crazy. It still did well with all the other tests, but this test was specifically just to drive them into the solid bone, you know, with no give. And we were expecting stuff like this. So All right. All right. Next up, the 65-pound Bowtech with the Day 6 Evo. This one missed bone. It cut through elk cape, ballistics gel, and 2 bags. That was solid. Losing knocks this way. We sunk her pretty deep. You can see the Valkyrie in there. That's out of the 80-pound Hoyt. Sunk deep down in there, that Valkyrie. This was a Day 6 Evo. Did not get the same penetration as the 80-pound Hoyt, but still sunk deep into that bone. So we will shoot. We have one more to shoot out of my wife's bow. So we'll see if we can get this one out, and then we're going to cut this bone apart and try to get those broadheads back, because that Valkyrie out of that Hoyt is all the way to the center of it. So, all right, one more. All right, last one to be shot just into the bone is the Solid Legend out of my wife's 50-pound bow. You can see shooting these directly into the bone with no hide or ballistics gel to like deaden the blow is definitely oh, that's interesting. It bounced off. Bleeder blades are broke. Ferrule is bent. Main blade is bent. And you can see in the video, it hit right there. I thought that's where it hit, about midway up the bone. And that broadhead hit and bounced off. I thought it snapped the arrow, or just exploded the broadhead when it hit. I thought it just hit and went kaboom, because I seen it laying in the dirt in front of it, but it didn't. My wife's bow shot the Valkyrie, and it stuck into the bone. She shot an iron will, and it stuck into the bone. She shot a few other ones. That's weird that this one would hit and bounce off. That's interesting. But so we have more coming. We're going to get this video all edited up, and remember to like, tag a buddy, and share this video for your chance at a My Topo map, a free map. You can choose anywhere that you want, any location, whether it's here or Colorado, wherever, and you can get a hard copy, hard waterproof map made up, and we're giving away one for free. Just to like, tag a buddy, and share this video. All right, thanks guys. All right, we're gonna go over the Valkyries. This first one is with the gold tip, shot out of the 65-pound bow, and you can see that's the one that we dug out of the bone. Blades look amazing, tip looks amazing, no cracks, and these blades are super sharp. It's probably, right there would definitely cut paper. This is my wife's 50-pound bow, and that one is looking great. No nicks, no breaks. perfect condition. This is out of the 80-pound Hoyt that we shot again. And it was buried so deep in that bone, I had to cut the bone apart to get to it. The tip is in perfect condition. Blades, perfect condition, except it broke that blade right there. And it broke. And this might have been me when I was trying to get it out. It bent. You can see it bent the FX Archery outsert. And you can see it, the glue broke. It broke the threads, basically. There. But that was a solid hit with the 80-pound Hoyt. Blew the knock. So, second up for review, we have the gold tip. Yesterday's shooting exploded. My wife's 50-pound bow, we missed the target yesterday, so we shot it again today into just bone. You can see, or you've seen in the video, it bounced off. Bounced right off the bone. Tip looks a little flat there. Looks like it's bent. It tried doing what the other one did and just bending and shattering. Bleeder blades are destroyed. And then with the 80-pound Hoyt, this one was yesterday. Still looks great. Tip's a little marred up. It is still pretty sharp. Blades are sharp, bleeders are sharp. That tip's marred up. This one caught, if you remember in the video, it caught near the Valkyrie and took a big old chunk out of the bone. So this one did good. Here's parts to this one. Some of the pieces that we found in the target. All right, third up, which was the most interesting, the Day 6 Evos. This is the one that we just dug out of the bone. It hit solid right into the center. I unthreaded it, cut the bone in half, broke the bone to get this out, and it was broke. Blades are still sharp, but it just snapped the main blade. Then I shot my 80-pound Hoyt into the bone because that was also a miss yesterday. And it did the same thing. Took a huge chunk out of the bone, but it snapped the main blade right at the top. Almost identical, almost in the exact same spot. Clearly there's a weak spot there. And the third was my wife's bow. Shot yesterday in the testing, hit bone, marred up the tip. Bleeder blades look good. One of the bleeders is dull. That one's sharp. That one's a little dull. Side blades are sharp, just took out that tip. That's our heads up close. All right, guys, thanks for watching our videos. I just want to say, make sure that you follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We even have a TikTok. Just follow us on all platforms, and you can stay up to date on these broadhead tests. We still have a ton of heads to test. We're going to be testing, probably the next ones to be tested will be like the slick tricks. We got a couple different slick tricks that we're going to throw. The Exodus, that's a great one to throw with the slick tricks. We got a ton that we're going to be shooting just in the next few days. I'm going to be trying to pump these videos out to you guys, but you got to understand that it's hard to shoot, edit, and then get it all out to you all in one day. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to do all this by myself on top of, I still have a full-time job. So I would love to just do this full-time and make the same amount of money that I do, but it ain't gonna happen. So bear with me. I'm gonna be pumping these videos out the best I can, the fastest I can. I understand September's coming. A lot of you want to see your broadhead shot before it comes to elk season or deer season, and we're trying. We are going to try to get all the heads shot by September, so that way guys can, I don't think anybody's gonna make a last minute decision, but maybe it'll give you some confidence in the broadhead that you chose to buy. Another thing, remember, we're not endorsed by any of these companies. A couple broadhead companies did donate, just a few of them, just because they liked what we were doing, not because we're sponsors with them or that we do anything else with them. We actually are just as excited about all this testing, because we're gonna, whatever one that we feel like did the best, our opinion, we're probably gonna shoot this year. So keep that in mind. You know, we're completely biased. We're not trying to sway anybody to one broadhead or another, anything like that. We are just trying to show you what's going to happen when you have an 80-pound setup, a woman's setup, and the middle of the road setup, and show you how each of these broadheads react to an elk-like target. We are going to get some beef shoulder blades. Now, if we get these blades and the testing seems to go way better off with the shoulder blades, because I know the problem is we're blowing into solid beef knuckles, and beef legs. So, I mean, almost no broadhead's going to go through it. I mean, a couple of them did, but I think a more realistic place of shot would be up in the shoulder blade. So I talked to Outdoor Addiction, and I said, hey, is there a possibility when you guys are cutting up your meat, can we get some shoulder blades? That way, I'm going to start blowing broadheads through shoulder blades. If that seems better, we'll go back and we'll blow these premium heads through shoulder blades to show you. Maybe we'll do like a top 10 or a top 5, and we'll shoot all those through shoulder blades. Maybe we'll do more ballistics gel, we'll figure it out. So stick with us, guys, and we're gonna shoot these other broadheads, and we'll see how they do when they're shot just straight in the bone. What's up, guys? Like, tag a buddy, and share this video, and you'll be entered in to win a MyTopo free map. We use MyTopo maps with our e-scouting. We find a great place or a spot that we choose that we're going to go hunt this year, and we will choose a map, go to MyTopo, have it printed off. Then you have a hard copy of a waterproof map that you can take with you so you can see where you're at. It's always good to have a hard copy map in your pack. They weigh nothing. They're waterproof, weatherproof. They're great, and you can really get down in and see all the topographic lines instead of just being able to see it on your phone. So again, like, tag a buddy, share this video. Thanks, guys.